From the heart of America to the corners of the globe, welcome to Voices of Distilling, powered by the American Distilling Institute. Unearth the stories, the passion, and the faces behind every drop. Dive deep into the world where tradition meets innovation. With me, your host, Ronnell Richards. Let's tap into the spirit of distilling, where every voice is unique, but the heart remains the same. Let the journey begin.
Welcome back to Voices of Distilling. My name is Ronnell Richards, and I am your host. And today, we're joined by this year's Distillery of the Year, our bubble cap winner, all the way from St. Augustine. Am I saying that right? Because I hear people say St. Augustine. Do you say St. Augustine or St. Augustine?
We say St. Augustine. Now, you'll see a lot of Hispanics will say San Augustine. And so I think you can see that with, some of the Spanish-speaking parts of the ADI.
I will sound like a poser if I do that.
There you go.
So I'm not going to do that.
And we say St. Augustine. We're fine.
So I'm joined by Mike Diaz, who is the CFO and Co-Founder of St. Augustine.
Right.
And you are fresh off of your win. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, it was a wonderful surprise, but really a nice recognition of a lot of the hard work we put in. And I think we could name 10 other distilleries that we think are worthy of that, but we're very, very proud and excited to get this award.
Well, I'll tell you what, that speaks a lot to your humility and leadership in the space. Because, there are a lot of people doing great work, but this is your year, my friend.
And we'll take it.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're glad to have it. So it was wonderful. It was a wonderful feeling. And we've always been big supporters of ADI, and this is where we started, right?
Yeah.
This is where we learned about the industry. And so it was really nice to get that recognition.
I would really love to hear more about that journey and that story. As you guys know, ADI, 21 years leading as a professional organization in the space, helping educate distillers, being part of their journey.
Right.
And this has to be almost a surreal moment for you. Tell me how it started.
So it started really with my partner, Phil, at Portland ADI in 2010 or 11. And he met people in the industry, and Leah Hutchinson actually introduced Phil to Dave Pickerell.
Oh, yeah.
And we met with Dave. We actually hired Dave to be our consultant on the project, and we worked on a business plan, spent a bunch of time thinking about, we're going to make bourbon in Florida. Florida being an agricultural powerhouse, we said we're going to make bourbon in Florida. And Dave really helped us not only from the idea of how we were going to make the spirit, but also how we were going to engage the community. Because what people know Dave is a former master distiller at Maker's Mark. He was also in charge of their gift shop for a number of years. Mm-hmm. And for us being in a tourist community, a big part of our distillery and the financial model that we have is the engagement of the guests. And Dave was the one that kind of put the light bulb in our head that you better have a gift shop that has something everybody can buy. Right? Yeah. And so that was kind of the start of it. And at ADI there's seminars on how to start your distillery, on all sorts of distillation, all sorts of marketing. And so we learned an awful lot that we could put into our business plan, as well as meet the vendors that we still use today. So, we opened to the public. We distilled our first barrel of bourbon in 2013, December of 2013, opened to the public in March of 2014. And candidly, a lot of the glass manufacturers, the closure manufacturers, the label manufacturers that we started with, we're still using today.
Oh, wow.
And we met them all here.
And you met them here.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, which is great.
So tell me a little bit more about the experience at your distillery. I haven't visited yet, but I hear that it is... that I have to. That's the one thing I'll tell you is you got to come. You have an open invitation. We'll treat you right. And our guest experience really has several components. So we're in a city that gets 1 million tourists a year. Yeah. We have historical trolleys that take people all around the town.
we get 175,000 visitors a year. We're in a very historic building, a building that was the old ice plant. We restored that building, received several awards for historic preservation and creative historic reuse, which was great. So people get a chance to see this great old building. We have a nice museum where we educate people about the facility. We're a 4-spirit distillery with vodka, gin, bourbon, and rum. And so we have 4 tasting stations throughout the self-guided tour where people have a chance to sample a cocktail. We also make mixers. So at the vodka station, they'll get a Florida Mule, which is like a Moscow Mule. At the gin station, it'll be a gin and tonic.
What's the difference in the Florida Mule?
It's made with Florida St. Augustine Distillery vodka. And it's our own mix. So our mix has a little bit more cayenne, a little less ginger, but it's anybody that loves a Moscow Mule will love a Florida Mule even better. We make a gin and tonic at the gin station, a rum tiki at the rum station, and then in our gift shop, we do our bourbon with an old-fashioned mix, but we also sample neat all of our other different barrel-finished bourbons, barrel-finished gins, all of our reserve rums, and all the specialty spirits we provide. And in that gift shop, people have a chance to purchase the bottle, the mixer, and the vessel, right? So they get a chance to recreate the magic they experienced at home.
Oh, I love that.
And we also have a classroom where we teach classes. We do a Spirit of Bourbon experience, Spirit of Florida Bourbon experience. We do a perfect pair matching. We do cocktail classes. And we're also partnering with Moonshine University. We provide a certified bourbon steward training that we do to the public. We also do it for our employees. Every one of our employees is a certified bourbon steward. And we do executive bourbon steward training. So we're really focused on educating the consumer because we believe a more educated consumer will be more experimental, more curious, and try more craft spirits. And we always tell them, hey, we want you to try ours, but do me a favor and just try something different today. Yeah. Right? Try something different today. Because we're not competing with other craft distilleries. All craft distilleries are competing with legacy spirits. And we think a rising tide floats all boats, and we want somebody to just go get as educated as they can and really go try all these great craft distilleries.
Yeah. Wow. Right? You know, Mike, in hearing your story and what it is that you're doing, it is no surprise to me that you're successful, for one, and that you've received this honor this year. Much like, you know, when I sat down with Dan and Nancy Garrison last year, and they shared their story and talked about the experience that they're providing, I'm seeing this great through line, this commonality, a focus on creating a tremendous experience for the consumer as they come into your space, right? And so there's an emotional connection to your brand. So speaking of emotion, as I look at that polo that you've got on there, and I see that name of the oldest community in this country, what does that mean to you to represent that community and have that name as part of your distillery?
We're extremely proud of that because we have, it's not only the oldest settlement in the United States, but we're actually located in historic Lincolnville, which is the oldest African-American community in the United States. And we're big supporters of the Lincolnville Museum. We're big supporters of really being part of the history of the area. And people come to visit the history. St. Johns County now is going to be, they're putting an African-American history museum about 3 miles from our facility. So we're really leaning into the whole history and the historical preservation piece, always have. Yeah. And it's really part of the ethos of who we are, because we have really been we wanted to be supporters of the community. When we put our distillery in our historic building, that building had been empty for 10 years. That part of town was really struggling. The core city is where all the tourism was, And we were a little bit outside that tourism band.
Yeah.
And when we restored that building, we felt like, and it has worked that way, that we were going to bring a little bit of vibrancy and life back to an area that historically had been really important and a really, really cool area. And luckily it's worked out that way.
Wow.
So we're, when you mention St. Augustine, we're really, really proud to be part of the community, but it's capital P and capital C. We are part of that great community.
Oh, I love it.
And we're really, it's not look at me, it's look at us.
I love your passion, man.
How about that, baby?
Yeah. So I noticed that when you were like, you brought out the whole crew. There was a lot of people that you brought on stage, which is fantastic. And we've got one of your team members is this over on the side here that is I don't think he's heckling you, but why don't we put him on the spot as well?
Absolutely.
So we've got Rick, and Rick is your VP of production. Rick, get over here. I want to talk a little bit about the products, and you're the guy for that. So get in a little bit closer. We won't bite. I don't know about Mike, but
I'll cheat on him enough.
We'll hug it out. Tell me a little bit about the work that you're doing.
Sure. So as Mike was pointing out, community is everything for us. So when we sit here and we talk about, different things that Maryland is doing, which I just sat in a great class about rye whiskey, we do the same thing in Florida. We really want to focus on Florida agriculture, on what we can make in our environment. Of course, it's very hot down there. Everybody knows that about Florida. So we emphasize things like cane sugar. So our vodka, gin, and rum are all based in Florida sugarcane, which is really unique. That's a material we have down there that a lot of people don't have, maybe Louisiana, but we also have it a ton in Florida. But we also lean into that with our bourbon as well. So everything that we do with our bourbon is making sure that it's working well in our environment, not against our environment. We use no conditioning on our barrels, anything like that, because when we want people to taste Florida bourbon, we want them to taste the state of Florida and something they can't get anywhere else.
I love it. And you know what else I love? You got the look, man. You look like the VP of production. Like, I need one of those hats. That's a good look. Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll get you the hat, and you've got the beard. If you go on our production floor, you can't walk on it without a beard.
Is that the rule?
That's the rule.
Man, you're in. You're in. You come anytime. We got to put you in some, some work boots. But unless you're the co-founder, I think you get through, right?
Well, they'll let me on the floor, but they not allow me to touch any of the equipment, which is the right thing.
Okay. I got the fake beard. I don't got the full one. So do I just I get to step on is there like a distance and then okay, you don't have the legit beard. You can't go any further.
Actually, there's a little yellow line on our production floor. It's normally a do not cross line, but when you cross that line, your beard actually pops out. It happens all of a sudden. So, you'll be good.
I love it. So tell me about the products that you guys are currently distilling. What are we making now?
Sure. So we make vodka, gin, rum, and bourbon. So in the summer, we actually dedicate ourselves to rum because it's the perfect time to make it. Not only is it really good as far as like a materials standpoint is concerned, but rum ferments really well for us when it's really hot outside. And we do control our fermentations, but we try to let it kind of go wild a little bit and get some of that extra flavor that you get from the environment. So we're making rum right now, but we're about to go back into bourbon as soon as we get back, actually, which is going to be really cool.
Anything experimental or top secret? I mean, just between us.
I've always got stuff going on. And when people ask me what I'm excited about, I'm like, the thing you won't know about for 5 years. But we just came out with a really amazing reserve rum that I want you to try. We'll find a bottle and we'll get it to you. But it was a really long process, and I won't spend 10 minutes explaining it. But it's got so many different layers of Madagascar vanilla, sweet orange that goes in it, some grassiness that it gets from the fermentation. It's just an amazing, amazing product that we just put out. And then you also got to look forward to some Armagnac bourbon that we're putting out in the near future. Of course, we're finishing up an Amburana finished bourbon that we've been working on for a long time. Tons of things in the future for us.
Wow. And here's another thing in the future. Ronnell visiting and hanging out for a week.
Anytime you want.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about now. Clearly, you've won the award, but it's a team award, right? Tell me about the team. How many people do you have? Give me a little more details about what your production facility looks like.
Sure, absolutely. So we have a huge team back home. Shout out to them. Hello. But we have some amazing distillers. We have people that work in maintenance. But most importantly, the people that I want to highlight are actually the front of house people. Right. Because, the thing that a lot of people forget about is that I can make all the best juice in the world, but that juice just sits on the shelf next to other great juice. You got to have somebody that makes that connection to other people. So our front of house people are funny. They're engaging. They make sure that you understand what's going on inside the bottle, but more importantly, why you should care.
I'm glad that you appreciate that. I'd like to know from you guys, like, how do you find great front of the house talent? How do you find those people that are passionate?
I think it's curated, right? So we interview people, and people kind of self-select in the interview process. We ask them, why are you coming in for a job here? And if they've got an interest and they've got enthusiasm and they've got passion, then we'll make them good. But honestly, I think it's the self-selection of somebody that wants to come in. Now, we train people. Everybody that comes through our facility becomes a certified bourbon steward. If you're not interested in doing that, you might not belong here, right? But if you do, and you've got a passion, and they'll self-select, and some of them really love to work in the gift shop. Some of them love to work on the tasting stations. And I will tell you that I'm certainly biased, but I would take any one of our people over almost anyone I've ever seen, right? I mean, our entire team is so strong. We have 50 people working for us between warehousing, retail, tours, education, production, and admin. All our admin are great. And, I'd keep every one of them.
I love it. So here's the thing. With this great honor comes the responsibility, right? And to continue to push the industry forward and to be mentoring the next generation, the next Mike, the next Rick. So I'm going to hand the mic to you, Rick, and I would like both of you guys to answer for me. Like, if you were to give some advice to these folks that are just getting into this business and they aspire to be you, give them some advice, give them some direction. And Rick, you ready for this?
I am ready for this.
There you go, brother.
I've been thinking about this. So, while you guys were talking on the stage yesterday, I was thinking about, what I would have said if I was up there, and I think the really important thing is that, the last time I was in Baltimore, I was sitting on that show floor, watching people on the stage, dreaming about being that person. And this year we are that person, and that's one of those things where I want to let people know, don't give up. The industry's tough right now. There's always competition, there are things working against you. That's never going to stop. But what's important is that you have something to give and that we all want to see it. If I had some advice to give to young distillers right now, just keep going, man. Just keep going, because we're here for you. And we're always an open book. I mean, Mike will tell you that one of our big initiatives over the past couple of years has been transparency. We don't think that we gain anything by saving our secrets for ourselves, because what does that really matter? I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. What we're doing is we're creating something interesting in a new way. And if we share that with someone, not only have we created a fan for life in another distiller, but we've armed them with the tool to be the next great thing, which can only potentially create new technology that we might have never thought about that we can learn from them. So it's a big cycle. We can all help each other, and we just need to chill out and help each other a little bit.
How about that?
Yeah.
And we also believe in failing
Mike,
fast.
how do you follow that?
I'll tell you. First of all, the most important thing is to let your employees shine. Rick's got a phenomenal production crew. Every one of those guys. So right now, for Bourbon Heritage Month, we're releasing 3 separate bourbons that were each picked by Rick and 2 of his members of his distilling team. And each one gets its own label signed by that individual, right? And so you'll get to come in, when you come visit us, you should do it during Bourbon Month, you'll get to pick up one of those bottles where you'll see the flavor profile that each of those distilling team members prefers and chose. And it's full disclosure on the label, like Rick talked about. So it's exciting. And the answer is, let people shine, let them fail fast. If it doesn't work, we'll do something else. But, everybody has the freedom to experiment and do something creative in a manner that we can all hopefully sell to a consumer and delight the consumer.
Excellent answers, guys. Not that I was judging, because there's no right or wrong, but there is a right, and you guys both crushed it. Okay, I got one. I always end with a fun question, and the fun question is your desert island spirit or cocktail. What is it?
Mike, you got to go first on this one.
I'll go first just because it's easy. I love a Vucare. I'll experiment with everything, but if I, gun to my head and this is my last moments on earth, that's the one I'm going to choose. It's got depth, it's got richness, it's got character, and a little bit of history. So it reminds me of when we first got into the business, we kind of discovered craft cocktails at the same time we discovered craft distilling. So that's the one for me.
Tough question. Similar to him, I'm going to pick a Boulevardier. I think that's the cocktail to go with. But, if I'm being honest, what I'm really going to do is reach in the fridge and get a Busch Light and a shot of Old Granddad. That's just who I am. I'm sorry. That's who I am.
I love it.
I love it. Great answer. It has really been an honor to sit down with you two. And this was a ton of fun. Thank you for your leadership. Your award, no doubt, is very well deserved, and you guys are doing a lot of great things. So I cannot wait to come down there and visit with you, and grow my beard out so I look like I belong. So just for those that are out there across the country that want to purchase your spirits, what's the best way for them to do that?
The absolute best way is to come visit us. The second best way is to go, if you're in the state of Florida, we're in all the major retailers, all the Total Wines, all the ABCs, all the Publixes, and a lot of independent retailers as well. And we're also in Georgia. So either of those states, go into your local retailer. We love supporting them. And if you're not in those two states, go to our website and you can see where you can purchase those spirits.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. I hope you guys got goosebumps the way that I did when they were sharing, when Rick talked about being in the audience and then winning that I was like, oh. What I want you all to know is that this community is open. This community is nurturing. This community, I don't care where you're at in this spirits world right now. If you're front of the house, if you're a server, you could be these guys.
That's right.
It just takes being part of the community. It takes reaching out to folks like Rick and Mike, who are all out there to help. We're all out here to help. We want to see this industry flourish, and we want to see you as part of it. So thank you again for your time. Thank you all for honoring me and allowing me to interview you. And we will see you all in the next episode of Voices of Distilling.
As we conclude another episode of Voices of Distilling, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to you, our cherished listeners. Your support is the lifeblood of our show, and we are endlessly thankful for each and every one of you. If you've enjoyed our conversation today, please take a moment to rate and review our podcast. It truly helps others discover these spirited stories. And if you wish to further support our mission, consider becoming a member of the American Distilling Institute. As a member, you'll dive deeper into the world of distilling, gain access to exclusive content, be a part of our dynamic annual conference, and immerse yourself in a community where knowledge and passion converge. Visit our website, distilling.com, for more details on how you can benefit from membership and contribute to the vibrant tapestry of distilling. Until our glasses clink again, remember, every drop has a story, every voice a passion. Raise your glass and cheers to the heart of distilling.